You know, today I rolled out of bed and I thought, I want to have a fucking shitty ass day. I want to be sad. I want to be depressed. I want to feel like my life is going fucking nowhere. All I want to do all day is just be fucking sad. No one ever fucking says that. No one. So when people sit there and say, oh, I just want to be happy. No fucking shit. Who doesn't want to fucking be happy? For real. No one wakes up and says, well, today I just kind of want to be fucking sad. You know, I don't want to be happy today. I want to be fucking sad, and I want to fucking wallow in my own sorrows and my own self-pity, and I want to fucking feel bad for myself. No. Also, what does that even mean? I just want to be happy. Does one thing make everyone happy? No two people find happiness in the same thing. What does that tell you? That says that happiness, quote unquote, your happiness is all based on your perspective. It's all based on your head. It's based on your self-talk. It's based on how you perceive yourself in this world and create your own reality. Do you sit there and listen to your conscience and not do what your conscience is telling you? Do you sit there and listen to your conscience and say, well, you know, maybe I should do this and I should do that, and you don't fucking do it? Because your conscience, the conscience is the authentic voice of God. That's how I heard somebody phrase it, and that's the best thing I've ever heard talking about the conscience. The conscience is the authentic voice of God. And I don't care what religion you are, I don't care what you call God. God is the creator, the universe, your fucking church God, your angry, wrathful, vengeful fucking church God, whatever he is. That your conscience is the authentic voice of God. That is telling you what you need to fucking do. And if you feel guilt, if you feel shame, if you feel regret, that's your fucking conscience saying you shouldn't fucking be doing what the fuck you're doing. What you should be doing is what I'm telling you to fucking do. Oh, but I don't want to do that. 9 times out of 10, no, 9.99999 times out of 10, what you need to do to be quote-unquote happy is just about everything that you don't fucking want to do. No one, it's very rare that what you need to do to be happy is the same thing as what you want to fucking do. All you need to do is get started. People don't want to go to the gym. They don't want to fucking eat right. They want to just sit down just like I was. I wanted to just wake up and play my fucking video games and eat fucking peanut butter out of the jar and eat a fucking 15-pound bag of Starburst every week. Eat a fucking case of Twinkies in 3 days. Now, that's everything that I wanted to do. What the fuck I needed to do was get my ass up, get it in gear, get on a nutrition plan, suffer with my food, suffer with my training, introduce suffering. Because on the other side of suffering is peace. On the other side of suffering is where you find yourself. You hear all these stories about these people that have lived these terrible, god-awful lives. A life I couldn't even imagine having. Kids like David Goggins that was fucking beaten and abused his whole life. And finally, through all that suffering, they realized they didn't want to be where they were. They were in control of their own thoughts. They were in control of their reality and how they perceived it. They were in control of their quote-unquote happiness. And they found themselves through all the suffering. They introduced suffering to find themselves. The same with the hero's journey. That's what they had. That's what everyone has to go on. I was saying that some of these indigenous tribes, when boys come of age, they send the boy off into the wilderness. They send them off. They send them out. And they have to go on their own fucking journey. And they have to suffer to find themselves. We don't have that in this society. God, I wish the fuck we would. I wish we would put down the fucking medications and introduce suffering into everyone's life. Everyone's scared to fucking suffer. But through suffering is where you find that peace and happiness. Are you struggling with something? You're having a tough time right now? You don't want to fucking get up and go do something? You just want to sit there and, well, I want to be happy, but I don't want to do nothing about it? You having depressive thoughts like I used to and sit there and think, I, me, I'm sad, I don't feel like doing this, me, it's all about my feelings, how I feel. Do something for someone else. Wake up and say, what can I do to make other people happy? What can I do for someone else today, instead of saying, oh, I don't want to do this today, I don't want to do that today. Introduce fasting. Fasting is a wonderful way, an amazing way to introduce suffering. Whenever I find that, whenever I come across something and I know I'm going to struggle, whenever if something gets into my head and I'm like, I'm going to have to work through this, I'll fast. Because after about 2 days, whatever was in my head making me fucking worry about, making me depressed, doesn't seem so fucking big, because I want to fucking eat. I'm starving. I'm hungry. And then after day 3, well, fuck, I done gone 3 days. Might go 4, and then go 5. You're not gonna die. Drink some water, take some salt, and you'll be good. After 5 days of suffering, and you finally sit down and have a little bit of a meal, you're not gonna be fucking sad and depressed. If you're suffering, get up and go on a walk. Go put yourself through some intense physical exertion. Guaranteed you're going to feel better at the end of it. You might not feel that good during it, but at the end, when you finish, you're going to feel better. And then the next day, you're not going to want to fucking do it, because you're going to be like, well, fuck, that sucked yesterday. Then get up and do it. Just get up and fucking do it. So many people, they talk about their depression, and they talk about being sad and I don't know where my life is going. I don't have a direction for their life, and yet they don't want to do the things that they need to do to find the answers. They want the answers handed to them. They want it easy. They want somebody to tell them, this is what you have, this is your path. And that's not going to happen. You have to find your own path. You have to find your own way. It took me quite a while to get on where I'm just starting to find my path. I knew what my path was a long time ago. I just didn't want it. I just didn't do it. Mostly out of fear. And if you're scared to do something, if you are fearful of something, fear is one of the beliefs of the ego. And I've talked some about the ego, and I'll be talking a lot more about the ego, but the ego is not real. The ego is a made-up fucking entity. It's made up out of survival. And once you realize that, you're no longer constrained by your fears. You're no longer... the fear, it doesn't control you anymore. But it's not going to be easy. The way is never easy. The path, it's not fucking smoothly paved. And a lot of the times you're going to fall back. And that's when you have to fucking just put your head down and keep going even harder. A lot of people, they get going on their path like I did a long time ago. They get going and then some things come up, something pops up, and then they start falling back. When that happens, that's when you have to just keep going, put your head down, and go even harder. And that's something that's taken me quite a while to learn.